Yeah.
Hey, Hewitt. Hey, Drake.
Excited to be here. Oh, don't forget to bring up your VMix social.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what the.
Okay.
We're live on YouTube now. Can we pan this camera up just a hair?
Yes.
I'm like kind of hiding up here.
Hello, YouTube. Welcome to PTZOptics Live. We are
short
in the
like Tess.
pre-show. Ted is here. Oh no, that was
Hi,
from
Ted.
last week. Drake is here. Hewitt is here. Drake's sending us a special message.
That doesn't work
Warm
anymore.
cookies
That
makes
live
everything
chat that you just threw
worth
up.
it. Tom
don't know
Willis,
if it
did
went-
you not see my user group stream earlier? Paul is too tall. Hey.
There we go. Andrew's
Enrique from Ecuador.
No, I can't hear you. All right, let me check all the audio stuff.
How are you doing, Enrique? Thanks for joining us
Let's get rid
today.
of that thing there.
Hewitt is in the Netherlands. Kids are in bed. Ooh, lucky you. I hope you're having, maybe a nice evening drink and relaxing
Tess,
after
can
a
you hear
long
that?
week.
Do. No?
Nothing.
All right, so that's our fault then. Let's go down to Andrew.
Christopher, maybe
Audio.
Tess needs an Apple box. What to stand on? I know, I'm a
Hold on,
shouty.
what the hell? Speaker. Okay. Let's
Ken from Northern California. Michael Seth Burgess. Hiya.
Okay, there.
Okay.
Now
I
you can
have
hear.
audio on Andrew.
Go make Andrew full screen.
Are you? Oh, it's very not good sounding. From
Is that from?
it might be from our headphones.
You think it's just our headphones?
It sounds like it's an audio cable issue.
Okay. It's probably. Okay, so Andrew, you should be coming through on the live show now. Can you hear me? Okay. We can't hear
Pre-show
you, but it's
testing.
probably our headphones.
Hey, Kirk.
Oh, I remember what this was now. God, this reminds me of all this. I think I know what it is.
Enrique, feel free to reach out and email us or Facebook message us.
This is a
We'll
really
get around
weird
to
scenario
chatting.
thing
My
we had
mic.
to deal with back in the day.
Okay. All right, that's better, Andrew.
Oh, you
It
can
is
hear me
better?
now?
Yep, we can hear you. It's
Okay,
he's
sure.
loud. He's really loud.
Yeah, they can hear me. It's
Good.
really loud.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Is that better?
We can just turn
Tell
you
me
down a
when.
little bit.
Tell me when. Tell me when. How's
Okay.
this? How's this? How's
That sounded
this?
pretty good. All right, let's leave it
That's
here. Yeah, audience will respond, and I think it's good.
Really? Okay, good.
And then Trevor, can we cut to camera 2 just to make sure that's on? Good.
Doc's making fun of my quote. It's very ... not good sounding.
There we go. Now it sounds
Hey,
good.
Dean, what's going on?
Okay,
Okay,
good.
so we just want to test this. This is our Wirecast cam
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
Is the sync okay? How's the sync?
Do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with your
1,
hand.
2, 3, 4, 5. 1,
It's a little
2,
off.
3, 4, 5. Little off?
I'd say 1 second off, maybe.
Okay, I can actually just flop the camera so you can still
Yeah.
see. Well, I'll just
Hey,
talk while you
Rudy,
see, and then we'll go back
Chris.
to the main camera.
All right,
Nice.
audience
Okay.
is saying audio is good.
Yes. All right, everything's working. This is our new studio setup, so we're always pulling sockets and cables and replacing things.
Yes, we
All
certainly
right.
I know the
are.
feeling.
These are the cookies.
Right?
We're ordering cookies today. Hello.
Paul's having cookies
Okay.
delivered to us right now because
Stream
he's
geeks,
crazy,
yes.
and that's what we do over here. Hey, John. Hey, Jay.
What? We're on the corner of Market and Darlington. It's 139 West Market.
There's a picture of a girl in the window saying,
Yeah,
"Shh."
there's a picture of a girl in the window saying shh.
He's talking to the cookie delivery man. This
We're,
is
we're
ridiculous.
we're right across from Carlino's. You'll see.
Like right on the corner.
Do you have a
Nine-
big order of cookies coming in?
All right. Well, when you get in the door, just walk
It's
all
not
the way to the
necessarily a
back
big
to the
order. It's an
studio.
expensive order, but we're just they.
And-
Okay, so there's this place right around the corner from us
it's,
now
yeah,
that
it's on
we're
the
in
other
town,
side. If you,
that
look, if you know where
delivers warm
Carlino's is,
cookies
we're
up
on the
until
corner,
3
but on the
a.m.
other side across
So we're getting
from
really
Justice
fat,
Center.
and we're ordering
Ooh.
cookies all the time now.
And you'll see a
That
blonde
sounds like a
girl,
dangerous
and it
thing to
says
have close
Stream
by.
Geeks live
It's really
streaming
dangerous.
on the- in the
Okay,
sign.
some of the audience members are saying our TSP camera is usually 900
All right,
milliseconds slow between audio and video. I'm sure.
Hey
George, hey, Drew.
new
Hey, Trevor, you
RTSP
found him.
Cameras are a lot
Nice.
lower than that, but
Hey, Sylvain.
Nice work there.
Chris Baldwin.
You're
Now,
pulling
by the
rabbits
way-
out of hats, man.
If you ever want to show, so you have Michael's, or sorry,
Hey,
you
Anders.
have Andrew's full screen as well, so you can make him full
And-
screen, or you could make him. You've got this side by side, and then you've got him right here too. So, excuse me. We had to get cookies today because we were very worried, and we were like, if all things fail, we'll just eat cookies. It'll be okay.
And I was thinking, yeah, if all else fails, we need some board games in here or something. Paul's stripping down over here. And,
wanna
like,
hide my-
things are getting really weird. in this
Our
getting
studio
computer
today.
doesn't have
It's getting
Bluetooth.
crazy.
and I thought we were going to get rid of all of these cables and have Bluetooth.
Hey, Ted.
I got a Bluetooth adapter.
Hey,
I don't
Amanda.
like Bluetooth anyway.
Amanda.
Oh,
Sorry, I
well.
don't know why I said that weird.
So today was supposed to be the official World Studio Tour party, but we delayed it because we want to keep the studio tour rolling for a couple more months or weeks. And someone did not get the memo, and they're at our office.
It says Wirecast did a great job with version 8.2.
Ooh.
Nice.
Excited to talk about that today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's on
it's
the docket,
definitely a great representative of Wirecast.
He's a power
use.
user for sure.
That's cool.
Gene
We
loves
like to see those
Wirecast
guys.
as well.
Yeah, Gene is crazy. He
duh.
uses Wirecast, Livestream, and VMix.
He's just a jack of all trades.
I thought he was kidding, but he really
No.
does.
I mean, does it depend, I wonder? Who knows? Or maybe he just likes to switch things up.
I think he uses them all for different purposes and
Yeah.
like connects them all.
Yeah,
at the
because
end.
they all have their niches. Patrick says we need a disclaimer for all European viewers about the cookies. Yeah, and the cookie place is called Insomnia Cookies. I don't know.
Why do we need? a
Paul told
disclaimer
me
about
we
the
were
cookies?
getting.
They're probably gonna get delivered during the live show. I'm not gonna lie. Somebody gave him bad directions. He should have been
Everybody
here
in the
already.
chat, can we help Paul out? He wants to know why we need a cookie disclaimer.
Why do we need to do this?
They're gonna tell you in the chat.
All right, I'm gonna log into the chat.
Hey Dan.
There we go. No. Yeah. Apparently.
Andrew's got some help over there.
I wouldn't worry about it, man. Yeah.
Is that your producer in the background, Andrew?
Yeah, so Deborah-Lee's got the day off, and so Trevor is filling in and doing a great job. So, and also we're trying something particularly complex. So this isn't easy stuff right now because
This is the place to do it.
we're
'cause
all set up for Skype here for all the ins and outs
Oh.
hardwired. So when we bring Zoom into it, we have to
could've done
like
Skype.
We
pull
could've
out
done
all of our
Skype.
bags of
I
capture
didn't know
cards
that.
and reroute everything.
Sorry.
And the mobile challenge here, like I want to use this DJI Go to like give you a tour live. So we're using Wirecast Go on that, but then of course this has delay on it, and so we want to make sure the audio is syncing and all that stuff. So anyway, complex but fun.
Nice. Ted says Telestream is about 30 miles east of me.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we our headquarters are in Gold Country in Nevada County. I'd say gold in 1849 that kicked off the gold rush was probably discovered about
There you go.
20 minutes from where I work, like 20, 30 minutes.
You got it.
Oh.
That's it. Oh yeah, maybe didn't get.
So if I want to monitor the chat, do I just go to the live channel here? All right.
Yeah, I just typed in Wirecast Takeover.
There
into
it is. I
YouTube.
see it. That's a funny title.
I know that was Tess is very good with her marketing.
I like it.
Marketing ideas. And now I get it. We need to have a disclaimer about the cookies on the live stream because like we have cookies. I get it.
Yeah, but that's
Like-
not even
Oh,
where my head was at.
clever.
Yeah. See, I didn't get that. I was like, what do you mean cookies?
I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's getting.
Well, and what's true about these cookies and the cyber cookies is they both follow you around. Like once you eat them, they stay with you.
Yep.
All right, it's time to start the show. We'll see you guys all soon. It's the World Studio Tour. We're looking at Wirecast Live Studio in Nevada City, California with Andrew Haley.
Welcome to the World Studio Tour, where we take you on a tour of the world's top live streaming studios and video production experts. Stay tuned this season and vote for your favorite studio on the season finale live broadcast.
All right.
Hello.
Where are
Hey
we
guys.
I was like thinking that you were gonna do the
today?
start,
I know.
and
I
then
forgot to do it.
welcome to PTZOptics Live World Studio Tour. Today is the Wirecast Takeover. We are joined by Andrew Haley of Wirecast, Telestream Wirecast, in Nevada City,
Yes.
California. For some reason,
Yeah.
that's been tripping me up, the location, because you think of like Sierra Nevada.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's
how you
all
doing,
right next to
Andrew?
each other, so we're all sharing names. Like,
Okay.
we're in the Sierra Nevada mountains, but obviously those share the border between California and Nevada. So I think both states like to claim them. And
Interesting.
supposedly, I don't know if you know this. There's an urban legend or folk legend around here that the shape of Nevada County, which is in California, is basically looks like a handgun, and it looks like it's pointed directly at the state of Nevada. And the reason supposedly it looks like that way, and the reason it's pointed that way, is because we were Nevada County before Nevada was a state, so they stole the name. But I think we all stole it from the Native Americans, so no big deal.
There's some
I
tension
don't think we have any
there.
right to this.
Right. Do any of us really?
Very interesting. Well, we've taken you guys on a studio tour all around the world. We've gone from the Netherlands. We have to turn off our intro music, by the way. We've taken you to the Netherlands. We've taken you to California. We've taken you to Las Vegas. We've taken you to New
Have we
York.
been to Canada yet?
We haven't been to Canada yet. We have plans to take you guys all around the world. WorldStudioTour.com shows you a map of where we've been and where we're headed. But we had to have Wirecast on the show. Obviously, Andrew and I have worked together for quite a long time. And, Andrew, I have a couple of things. I mean, I think we'd love an update from Wirecast on 8.2, and what's new there before we jump into a studio tour. Because I know a lot of our viewers are interested to hear about the new features.
Yeah, so 8.2. So we're kind of like now, I don't know if you know this, but with Wirecast, with Wirecast 8 and forward, we've switched to a subscription model. So once you have Wirecast 8, or you update or upgrade to Wirecast 8, at that point, it's $99 a year for always the latest version. So you will always have the newest version, no matter what version we release, whether we do a major upgrade or just little updates like 8.2 and so forth. So it's a really good time to upgrade to Wirecast 8 because we'll just keep dropping features. We wanted to get on a cadence where we could release more features faster. Historically, with Wirecast 4, 5, 6, 7, they'd come out every year and a half, 2 years, and we'd drop like 10 features in there. And we felt like we were just not moving fast enough and getting where we wanted to go fast enough to get these features out to people. And then every like 2 years, you'd get hit with $200 or $300 to upgrade. So we figured it made a lot more sense for the customer and made a lot more sense for us to switch over to a subscription model from 8 forward. So now it's $99 a year and you get all the stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's true whether you have Pro or whether you have Studio.
Awesome. That's a very big
automatically
change.
get those updates. Very cool.
Yeah. So with 8.2, that dropped this week, and so I don't want to like emphasize version numbers too much anymore because at a certain point we're going to kind of just start calling it Wirecast, the latest version of Wirecast. It doesn't matter what you have because you'll get the features, with this new model. And so 8.2 is fun though because it has some really cool stuff. So one of the things we've been wanting to do for a long time is introduce controllers and MIDI controllers. So we've had a ton of requests for that for years. We've looked at iPads. We've looked at other ways. We've looked at making our own. There's a lot of different ways to do controllers. And we even got talked to X Keys and asked them to start making an SDK for the Mac, so that we can use X Keys controllers and things like that on Macs, which they didn't have ready yet. And so that type of stuff is all kind of stuff we're talking about now. But to start with, we're doing what's called a technical preview with this. We've implemented 3 very popular MIDI controllers. And if you don't know what a MIDI controller is, just to update folks, I mean, I'm learning this myself, but apparently it's musical instrument digital interface or something like that. and it's been around forever, but it allows a two-way communication between both your controller and your software, which basically means anything you do in the software will update on the controller and vice versa. And so we launched with 3 of them. The APC MK2, which is a very good one. I actually have it on my desk. So Trevor, I don't know if you can throw up a shot of this guy. I think I'm sending you the signal. And I can hold it up too. It's kind of like right here. So this is the APC MK2. There's the Launchpad by Novation. And I think we're also doing the APC Mini. So
I have that.
And they're pretty cool. Like you can, we're already starting to play around with them. So that's launched in 8.2. And then the other thing we did was we finally brought Wirecast Cam functionality, which was the local Wi-Fi camera, which will be kind of shown off today. Wirecast Go, which could like stream to YouTube and for free and on cellular connections and all that stuff. It also lets you like do some basic mini like switching, and you can like change shots and compose shots, and you can even like if you wanted to like move yourself to the corner. Wait, can you go back to that, Trevor, real fast? So if you even wanted to move yourself, like your shot around or change or add layers, you could, I could move myself to the upper right. I can make myself like huge or small. And there's basically a mini Wirecast system. And now you can use that on a wireless network as if it was a, little Wi-Fi camera. So it's pretty handy.
That's a really
and you
cool
can have
device.
like as many of those Wi-Fi cameras as you want or need. I can see that being pretty interesting. Maybe even crowdsourcing sources almost in a way.
Yeah, it's going to depend on your network, your Wi-Fi network, and of course your computer's ability to process all of these incoming direct connections. But they're very low latency. It's all like direct, like local. I don't know if they're doing RTSP or if it's actually a variation of WebRTC just for the LAN.
People are asking about Wirecast Go on the iPad.
So it's not natively designed for the iPad, but it runs in emulation mode. So most iPads will open iPhone and iPod apps, and they run them pretty well. But it's not like natively designed, and we didn't build it specifically for iPad.
Okay, cool. Christopher says, are they using the GPU more over CPU for video processing?
For just Wirecast or for the iPhone?
I don't know. Are they asking? I'm a little confused with that one.
On Wirecast, we use GPU and for a lot of the composition and a lot of the buffering. The GPU is important to any streaming system, but most of the encoding, most of the actual streaming hits the CPU or uses a hardware chip for H.264 encoding.
Great.
Awesome. Well, if that covers us for the 8.2 update, we can jump right into the studio tour, and then I'm sure we're going to have a ton of questions, so which we can do Q&A after. So should we go right into the studio tour?
Let's do it. I'm excited for that.
Awesome.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so I don't have wireless microphones or wireless monitors, so I'm just going to have some cables following me around, but I in antiception of today, I made them we put some extra long ones there, so hopefully I won't trip or anything. But
we're having the same
here we
issues
go.
over here, so no worries.
I'm going to pull out the Wi-Fi, the Wirecast Go camera on the Wi-Fi network here, and I'm just going to switch the camera. Actually, what I'll do is there we go, and I just want to make sure it's up. I'm going to actually reset it so you have the complete
DJ Osmos.
Yeah, we have one of those. Those are great.
Yeah.
But you can
so the
stream.
DJ Osmo is great. Yeah, we this thing's amazing. And then I'm going to okay. So let me just take that change live. Okay, so this is where I sit. This is my desk with usually water, tea, or coffee. And then I usually have 2 screens. I have what's kind of like an off screen where you can see it's all messy. And then I have my demo screen. And whatever, this is basically our camera for the desktop. We run a hardwire loop to a capture card of this screen so that anything that's on the screen, the Wirecast system can see in the control room. So it's kind of like my demo stage there. And then other than that, everything is kind of, all the computers are underneath the desk. It's kind of messy. We want to make a broadcast desk that'll look great on camera, but for now we kind of just have this desktop and, it gets messy. But what I have here is actually 2 demo machines. The first one, the Mac Mini, I've been using forever, and actually I'm still using it for now. We started using this Windows machine, but I ran into a firmware issue with the graphics card, and I just haven't gone back to like mess with that enough to sort of be comfortable with it. But I do want to switch over to that because it's more powerful, and I can do more with it.
Minimize that.
And then we rigged up like a board here, and actually there's the tension strap, like a tensioner strap. I don't know if you can see
Holding
this,
it
but
all down.
it holds it all together. So if we need to roll the card around, the computers aren't going to like topple off.
Okay.
And then we have
Everybody
this
has
like
their own
super
little
long
DIY
strip.
aspect of something.
Yeah,
that
I
they
mean, look at
figure
all
out
those
here.
cables and plugs. You have to.
Yeah, this is just like an IKEA desk that I found in the corner of the office, and I was like, I talked to our facilities guy, and I was like, hey, what do you think we can like rig this up? So he's actually done so much modification to this. He's like, I've never done so much modification to an IKEA desk. Like there's like, he's added all kinds of new holes. He even added a little rack mount system that I asked him to do here. So I can actually run a Tascam
Nice.
You got a custom
multicam. When we added
broadcast desk.
all this pro audio and like multi-channel detection to Wirecast,
Is it a
it was,
stand-up
you know,
desk?
it's a difficult feature to demo. So I needed one of these Tascams close by that I could throw in a bunch of audio sources and then show them up in Wirecast and show how you might mix them in Wirecast.
Very
I
cool.
spotted a Diva ring light up there too.
Yeah, there's the Diva ring light. This we just use now as like a
Teleprompter?
secondary key or another fill.
Right.
And sometimes we stick the camera through it, sometimes we don't. Most of the time. So this is kind of what I look at when, let me actually use this Osmo for what I should be using. So this is my teleprompter. And because you're seeing the mirroring effect, because it's actually showing me what you guys are seeing. So I can actually look at as a confidence monitor, or I can throw up a script or whatever onto this little teleprompter. And we shoot through that. This is a little prompter made by Prompter People. They're a great little company out of, I think, Southern California. And yeah, we just rigged up a camera through there and a Blackmagic camera. And we shoot through the glass there, and it works really well. And then we've hooked up this monitor to another switcher. I think just a Blackmagic ATEM, and we can throw multiple sources there and just switch between them. So whatever we kind of want to see on the prompter, we can throw up on the prompter.
Oh, okay.
So it's
I
pretty
like that.
handy. So if I need to see like you guys, if I need to see what the audience is seeing, or if I need to see what like a script or another screen, we can do whatever we need to do. Okay, so on the desk here is the MIDI controller that I've been messing around with, and that just goes down to the Mac Mini through a little USB. It's too much of a pain to like get under the desk every time to plug in the little USB thing, so I just have a little like hub going
Right.
to an extension cable. And so if I need to plug in little keyboards or extra USB sources, I just have it on the desk. And then so that's going into there. I'm messing around with that. And then right next to it is my own personal mixing consoles, because it allows me, if like I want to mute my own audio, I can just hit the mute on channel 1. I can kind of control all the sources locally before they go out to the control room.
Right.
So it helps me like kind of manage my own audio. So I'm hearing you guys right on this channel. You're actually coming back from the board. So my audio goes out to the control room and then gets mixed into Wirecast. That's what you guys hear. And then I get a return right through that channel. And then I'm listening to you on this headphones jack.
Yep.
Very cool.
All right. So next up, we have another Blackmagic Cinema
Ooh.
4K camera. This is kind of right now, it's being our demo cam. So it's just pointed. It's actually the wrong lens for this shot, but it's the best we have at the moment. And we're just showing the APC Mini. And so I can it's really helpful to be able to show what's happening on the controllers
Right.
as we change things on the screen.
Yeah, and
So-
it's kind of a fun little behind the scenes aspect too.
Yeah, totally. And it helps kind of, I think, talk about the correlation. We also have this sort of we just don't use this much because it's just, it picks up all the room noise and any like tapping on the keys, and everything gets kind of, I could play with this a little bit more, but I just never really liked a microphone like stuck in my face.
These are
I
the
like
cookies?
kind of like you guys, I think,
Thank
having
you.
a headset that's just hands-free. And
That's all right.
so much better.
Thank you.
I don't know
Pause for
why
a
everybody
moment
likes
while
having
Paul
a microphone
is
stuck in
accepting
their face. But,
cookies. I apologize.
pardon?
Still, they're warm. They're pretty warm.
He just got cookies.
He got the wrong.
Andrew.
The guy had the wrong
Oh.
address. So.
Continue. I apologize.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, I know I'm this, so I'm happy to, cut me off if like we're running long or how much time we have. But there's the green screen. We've been messing with some markers to try some stand-up stuff, some stand-up like slide presentation. We also have, I don't know, I'm not quite happy. Like there's a lot of stuff we still need to do here, but one of the things we do is we did put up a bunch of like a gray background that we can shoot on. It looks really good with like the Diva light. And so we have like gray paper there, and I'd like to get a couple other colors that we can just kind of swap to if we don't want to use the green. And in fact, this whole studio is too close to the green screen, so we actually get a lot of backsplash and spill or reflection bounce off the green. So one of the plans here is to move basically this whole setup about 5 feet this direction, or as much as we can squeeze it, and then just set up a bunch of lights here to light the foreground,
Right.
so that we really get that separation and we'll get a better key. All right, moving on. Tell me if you guys get bored here.
Nobody gets
right here
bored
we
by
have,
this stuff on this YouTube channel.
Go ahead.
Well, or Facebook page. I said nobody gets bored by this kind of stuff on this YouTube channel or Facebook page. This is the place for it.
This is the place. All right. So we hung up a bunch of slot boards to basically just organize,
exactly what we
kind
do,
of have a place
essentially.
to hang up cables.
Right.
That was pretty useful. So you can
Much
see it's
more
actually
space
all
for
over
that.
the studio. We have walls where we can just hang a bunch of crap.
You have
And,
to find a place for that, or else
you
you'll
do,
never
you
find
do.
anything.
And like, we have an extra camera and an extra like boom mic there. There's really no place to put it. It's not a huge studio. So we do that. And then we also have, just if you're curious about the lighting truss, we actually have a lighting truss
Oh, he has a
that
truss.
goes all over the green screen and directly over the desk. And again, that truss is primarily designed to light the green screen, but we kind of use it a little bit for both.
Right.
Although we do try to fill the foreground a lot.
See a little
with
bit of
these
sound
extra lights.
masking panels back there.
Yep, we've got some foam that we started to hang just to try to, we did some in the corners here and on the walls. And there's more to hang, but for now it's what we got. And then we actually have, this was here when I started at Telestream about 4 years ago, but it's a whisper room. So you can actually, it's made by a company, they'll ship it to you and help build it. It's only like 5 pieces or whatever. These things are awesome. You need to have like a private, conversation. You can head in here. It's also where we do a lot of the like voiceovers and stuff like that.
Oh.
There's a
You can
little
be
like
guaranteed
stool,
there won't be any
a little desk,
obstructions.
and when you step in, it's like super quiet. I don't know if you'll notice. I'll try to close the door here. And this is me in the whisper room. Let's see if we can turn that. So that's like, this is the whisper room. It's very quiet, very dark, and it's nice. Isolates a lot of the sound.
Especially if you have 2 people in there while you're live and something's happening on your live show and you need to, fix the problem. 2 people can jump in that room really quick, the producers or whatnot. And
Yeah,
sort it
we do
out
that
while
actually.
yeah.
We'll have people in the whisper room. There's Trevor,
Hi.
Hey, Trevor. I met Trevor.
and he's
before.
in the control room.
Mike feels your pain.
Keeping on. Yeah, so it is totally possible to have somebody in the whisper room if you need, that isolation. Here's a shelf with a bunch of our junk.
Oh, you have a window
and-
through the producer spot.
That's
We have what?
crucial.
A window through your producer area.
We do. So this was one of the things. So when we moved offices about 2.5 years ago, and they were like, hey, we know you need the studio. Like, what would you like to do? And
Nice.
one of the main things we wanted to do was have a window so they could actually like see what's going on. But of course, once we started like mounting all the screens and doing all the stuff, and they
Right.
couldn't make this a larger booth, like control room.
Mm-hmm.
So it ended up that the screens alone kind of just block all the views. But if Trevor really needed to get my attention through there, he could stand up like that. He's tall enough. So, and all those screens can kind of move out of the way if he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like the control room, insane mixing monitor
Wow.
mixer. And then we also have a window out into Telestream, into one of our offices, so we can get to see people
Wow, it's right
at
there.
work. Yeah.
Nice office.
we have
Oh, is there an additional
Yeah, I'll
green
even
screen
poke our
out there?
heads. Once we go through the control room, we can take a peek out there. Okay, so moving on, bunch of cables. This is where everything, all the audio, all the video, everything gets poked through these holes in the wall into the little control booth. We definitely want to change that because I'd like to get these cables off the ground and into some patch panels that then can communicate with a router. So that's all in the plan for Studio 2.0. But for now, it's what we got. We just run a snake's nest of cables through the floor.
I like it. Studio 2.0.
Yeah.
We have the same problem in our studio right now.
Yeah. This is the heroic trash can that took one for the team. I don't know if you can see this, but this was, I brought in an old tripod. So one of the things you learn when you when you start upgrading your equipment is like if you get a teleprompter and you get a nicer camera that's heavier, you need to start thinking harder about your tripods a lot because they can only carry so much weight and you're loading more and more and more stuff on these tripods, especially if you start messing with lenses and like rails systems and the rest of it. So I brought in I inherited from like a family friend, this massive Bogan tripod that was meant for these cameras back in the 80s or 90s. And I brought it in and I was like, this will work for our new tripod, for our new teleprompter system and everything. So I set it up and it was just too old. One of the legs went out and the whole thing fell. And we came in one morning and we found that the trash can had like saved it, the camera and everything from smashing. So
oh my gosh. So you kept it.
It was lucky break.
You said it's a lucky trash can. We're going to keep it even though there's a chip out of it.
Lucky trash can. All right, into the control room.
Ooh.
Here's Trevor. Sorry, Trevor, I'm going to be bugging you. So Trevor, here's our tiny little control room desk with everything kind of rack mounted. And this is even messier than the studio, but it's just the way it has to be. So you can see up here is a monitor for our Skype and Zoom machine. And then down here is the dual monitors for the Wirecast system. And then Trevor can put, or Deborah Lee is frequently sitting here, and they can put like New Blue on one side and run titles. Right. They can do Wirecast on the other. And that Wirecast system is all handled by this Mac, which was here when it's actually the first big computer that I got when I got to Telestream. It was meant to be a test machine, and eventually it just became our new studio machine. And then we actually recently got a gear for the studio that we stole from another team or department, and we'll be using that as well, either as a second system just for backup or as a primary system in some cases. Right now, like the TEDx, like the tally lights, we want it with multi-cameras. You really need to know what camera's live and all that stuff. So we're going to run some tally light systems, and they will only work with a PC, which would be a Wirecast gear. Until they make Mac plugins, we can't use the tally lights with the Mac. So that's one thing we're going to be looking at. And then we have a bunch of fans and cooling and cables, and we even built a little like shelf system for all of our capture cards, which are running into the Mac.
Wow.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Watching. So I don't know if you can see this very well, but there's just a shelf's worth of capture cards. Like there's an IO 4K and there's an Ethernet switch and all that. And then on top of it's the little Mac. So it all kind of has to get stuffed in this control room, but it's the way we have things at the moment. And then there's our Skype box and our ATEM and our Wirecast and our other Wirecast system.
Isn't it funny how as we grow, the studios just seem to explode? They just, whatever's in them just grows.
More and more equipment like a magnet.
Yep.
They do. So it's one of those, it's just crazy. And so you have to stay on top of the management, which of course is really important. So then I'll just give you a quick peek. We're going to leave the control room.
There's a door on either side.
Smart. Yeah, we're going to go outside. And there you can kind of see
what a cool office
folks
area.
Working.
Wow.
Oh, there's more windows.
Yeah.
That's a nice office space.
Yeah, it's great.
Open floor plan.
Great place to work.
I have a question for you, Andrew. How did you get started with being the host of Wirecast Show? Is that, what you expected when you were hired at Telestream?
Yeah, so we It was not what I expected, actually, at all. I actually wasn't that comfortable on camera. It wasn't something that I like planned to do. I like working behind cameras and behind scenes. I went to school for that, and I did a lot of that. And then I started in sales, and we wanted to do more webinars.
Right.
So I really started doing a lot of webinars. I just ended up being the guy, and the webinars were really successful. Like they were a great like program that we started doing, and then more and more people wanted to do that. And then about, what is it, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, Facebook Live came out.
Yep.
And that was something that we hadn't been doing any regular content online. And one of the ways I wanted to demo that Facebook Live was a new feature in Wirecast and was out now was to just do a show. And so we started with the first show, which sucked. And eventually we,
the first
we
one.
wanted to keep it up. Like I came on with like another one, like another week later or 2 weeks later. And then eventually I switched to, I switched, we just kept it up but started doing a weekly show because we should, right? This is what we do.
Exactly.
So,
what better way for companies like ours to demonstrate our products and services than to demonstrate them live?
right.
We're lucky
right.
to have that benefit.
Yeah, and so it took off from there. So then it became a really important piece of our live strategy, just like the webinars were, and our marketing strategy, and then just a way to give customers lots of content and to stay in touch with them and to give them value every week.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that space, your space with us. I feel lucky that we got to peek into Wirecast Studio.
Yeah, that was
the
really
Wirecast
cool.
Studio.
We did get a lot of questions, so what I'm thinking
We
is
do have a
we'll-
lot of questions.
We'll roll the credits and go into Q&A. I also want to talk to you about your show and some of I've always been a fan of your show, and some of my favorite episodes I wanted to ask you a little bit about. But let's
Sure.
roll the
We're being a
credits
little
and then we'll
selfish.
jump
And we
into
have a
the Q&A.
giveaway. Can't forget
oh
about
gosh,
that.
we have to do our giveaway as soon as the credits are over. We have a giveaway.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrew.
No worries.
Cookies.
Cookies. Got some mail.
You can do that.
I need a napkin.
I need this music feed.
Where did you get this music?
It's called Arcade something on Audio Blocks. But
Oh,
yeah,
Audio Blocks.
It did work out pretty well. Okay, so every week we spin the wheel to see who. But first we have to pick a winner. So the way our
gotta
giveaway
gleam it
goes
up.
is we use Gleam.io. We pick a winner, and then that winner must be live in the chat.
Present in the chat at the time.
So while he's doing
Do we
that,
need to throw some Wirecast in here too? Does someone need to win some?
Do you want to put
Yes.
Wirecast on the wheel?
we should put Wirecast on the wheel.
Okay,
This
you let me
is-
know. It doesn't have to be this time.
Yeah, we can.
Heck
Well,
yeah,
so
we
basically,
need to add Wirecast on there.
this is the wheel here. Can you show the wheel, Michael? And if you want to put Wirecast on here for a one time, it would have to land on it.
Okay.
So it's like a 1 in 24 chance. But this,
Yeah,
this
you
will
can
be
keep
a
it on there
fake
as long
one.
as you like.
We
This
can
will
keep
be
it
a
on
fake one.
there. Then we're definitely adding it.
Yay! What the heck? This thing doesn't even
Mike
spin anymore,
tightened
Michael.
the screw.
That was really
tighten this.
anticlimactic spin.
Like,
Okay.
we've got to untighten this a little
Mike?
bit. That's why I'm doing. Mike tightened it.
Any comments on that, Mike? You tighten the
Okay, there we
screw.
go. All right,
Now
there
the
we
wheel
go.
won't spin. I don't know what's going on. He tried, but
I was
There
trying
we
to
go.
fix it.
epic fail.
Epic fail. All right, so we're gonna spin it. Just pull a winner on Gleam. We'll pull it, and yes, we would love to have Wirecast on there. A lot of people are saying yes, yes, yes.
They're like, please put Wirecast on there.
There's a lot of
Now.
questions. We could jump into the questions while we're waiting for our Gleam winner, I guess. So someone
Go
was
all the way
asking
back. We've been
about.
getting a lot.
Well, you go ahead. Go ahead. That's your thing.
Okay. All right. We have pages now. All right.
There you go. Go to
Hold
winners.
on one second, Andrew. I want to make sure.
And
No
then
worries.
just click
I
draw
get it.
I'm
winner.
really liking this new studio, you guys.
You
and,
like it?
Yeah, and it's cool. You have a producer, is it Mike?
Yes.
Okay. What monitor?
Hey, Mike.
So we have a winner,
Okay.
and the winner is Kirk
Mays.
Oh, Kirk.
From
Mays.
Camden.
Okay, what
South
monitor
Carolina.
he has on the teleprompter?
Yeah, I wanted to know that too, Andrew. So the teleprompter is actually
It's a whole
doubles
system.
as a confidence monitor?
Yeah. It's a whole system. So
Wow.
now there's a couple drawbacks to this, but basically Prompter People makes a bunch of different monitors. They even make like the presidential ones where they're like glass and like a pole, and and you see those
Really?
like really slim looking ones in case there's like a live audience that needs to sort of see past it. And so you could pick which one you want. We just grabbed the smallest one they had, the smallest model, and it can't. And I asked them for a monitor to go with it that matched. The only issue is like a 4x3 monitor, and it's also kind of 4x3 piece of glass. So it would be nice to get the full 16:9. Sometimes stuff looks weird or there's weird dimensions when we try to put stuff on there. But it came from Prompter People. It's actually branded with their brand. I'm sure they just got a kind of cheap monitor from China and stamp their brand on it. But it works really well, and you can actually take it off, and you can also load an iPad or a tablet on there too.
Okay.
Really easily.
That's
And I
nice that
haven't
you can
messed with
transition
that yet.
between the two.
Yes.
Because we use a teleprompter that we use the iPad and the iPad app, but I like the one that you have. That's awesome.
My main issue with that was that I couldn't figure out a good way to turn the iPad into just a passive monitor when I wanted it to be one, right? Because sometimes I wanted like five different sources, different cameras or whatever, and it was difficult to find an app that could double as just a monitor that I could feed stuff into the iPad. It was hard to get like signals to the iPad coming in. It was easy if I had an app and I could just swap apps, but that's hard when you want to throw different camera angles and stuff like that. So if you find a way to do that with an iPad, I'd love to know, because the teleprompter part of this is the trickiest part. Like, it's easy to throw cameras and everything, but to get an actual prompt screen up there that's running and controlled, that's a little bit trickier.
Okay. Carender says, do mini pies work with Wirecast 8?
And we should pull another winner too, because Rick didn't show
Are you
up.
sure he didn't?
I don't see him.
No, Rick? Do you guys want to pull the
It
winner?
was Kirk.
And then one more time, I didn't hear the question. So
Do mini pies work with Wirecast 8?
mini pies, like Raspberry Pis?
I don't know. I don't know.
What are mini
To
pies?
be
Let me
honest,
see.
a lot of these times I don't know the terminology because I'm still learning all this. So I'm
think
just
I
like
see
reading
it up in the
hoping
chat
that one of
a
you
bit. Let me
knows.
see.
Oh, just said mini pies. Do mini pies? Ah.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know what he's talking about either.
Okay.
Do we have another winner?
I've got a question here from
Okay.
Kevin. He's wondering if Wirecast has integrated PTZ control coming.
Ah, that is a good question. I don't have a date for you on that. I know it's coming though.
Okay, so
We
that's
actually have
in
already
the-
started looking at PTZ cameras, and we're looking at NDI. We're looking at a bunch of different ways. We want to do a way
Feel free
that's
to
going
look
work.
this way.
The problem here is that there's no standard for control of PTZ, and I'm sure you guys know this better than anyone, across PTZ cameras. So there's a couple standards that are somewhat okay and others that aren't so great. And so there would be a situation where people would buy a model and then they'd be like, how come we don't have control of this camera? And we're like, well, that manufacturer uses a different protocol. So we just need to make sure we pick one that's going to be the most widespread and across as many brands as we can. What we can't do is try to support everything.
Yeah. No, and I have talked to your team about that, Andrew, and I think NDI is probably going to be a great solution to standardize things. Maybe Visca over IP, but I know what you guys are working on it, and it'll probably be here soon. We're getting more questions, but Ryan Falk is here.
Oh, yay.
So I'd like to spin the wheel for him.
All right.
You're going to have to
Here
do
we
it because I
go.
can't come over there. I'm strapped in.
Here we go. There's a free camera on here. There is there is a Wirecast course on vMix, or on
All right.
Wirecast course on Udemy that we have, so you can learn how to use Wirecast. So
Congrats on
there
that.
you
More
go.
from Carringer specifying what is the best software for Korg Nano Cortol for Wirecast. Have you heard of Korg Nano Cortol?
I've heard of the Korg, and I can't remember what it does. Like that totally sounds familiar. Korg Nano Control. Let me just look this up here. It looks like it's a MIDI controller. Yeah. Okay. So I think they're a MIDI company.
Okay.
And
Is that what it
I
at
is?
the
see.
moment, we haven't implemented any Korg controllers, but we do have a forum, specifically a section on our forum specifically dedicated to controllers and MIDI controllers if people would like supported. So if the Korg is what you want and what you use, just head over there and just leave a comment like, hey, I want you guys to use implement Korg control. Because right now we're just going one controller at a time to make sure we don't, again, try to support everything and do a bad job of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, happy to do that. But if you need MIDI control for the Korg, we haven't implemented it natively at the moment. You could hook it up to some scripting controls. Wirecast already has scripting controls. So if you want to build your own little MIDI translator app that kind of translates the MIDI into scripts for Wirecast, then you can totally do that now.
Nice. And it looks like a couple people are chiming in. Drew Ryan is saying the Duet display is a great app for turning the iPad into a passive monitor. And
Nice.
Samuel Nordvik as well, both of them saying the Duet display for iPads.
Duet
We'll have to
display.
look
I'm going to
into
write that down. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. John is asking about Wirecast support for Facebook comments in real time.
Okay, so there's
Social
no
media.
native support. It's coming at the moment. It's coming directly through the New Blue interface and the New Blue comment curation tool, which is actually really cool. It's just a little buggy sometimes. So, and I think we've seen it worse on Macs than we've seen it on on PC. So on PC, it doesn't seem to have much issue. But if you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
sorry.
all right. And so you'll want to, so that's the best way at the moment. It's really cool, and it works pretty well, and I've gotten it to work very well. We actually have Travis White coming on the show next week on Wirecast Live, and we'll be getting into all that. So if he's
nice.
curious about that feature, then that's the show to catch on
Perfect
Thursday at
opportunity.
2:30 p.m.
So, yeah, I wanted to ask
Awesome.
you about your show. It looks like you had a show on drones just a couple days ago. I really enjoyed that one. There's so many here. I don't even know which one to ask you about, but
We've got a ton.
you've got, I mean, I guess it's probably, we do a weekly show too, so this might be how hard it is for people to, we probably have the same problem. There, I see live streaming like a rock star with Red Foo.
That was really fun.
That must have been a fun one. Creating engaging live streams. Evolution of Wirecast with Geekazine.
Those are your favorites?
I mean, I'm just looking at the latest ones that he's had. What ones stand out to you that you were really happy with?
So the Red Foo one was really fun because he actually came out of his way to come to the studio here.
Ooh.
So we kind of got everyone at Telestream at the offices got super excited, and some people were like, "Who's Red Foo?" Other people were like, "You don't know who Red Foo is?" So sort of bifurcated the office, and other people got very excited, and it was fun. And so we spent a lot of time prepping. We brought in a bunch of extra lights. We really wanted to make sure that the key looked great and that everything went as smoothly as it possibly could. And then he showed up like the night before. And they were driving back. He's actually he's really smart and funny and cool dude. And right now he's not so much into making music. He's more into making apps for iOS. He's learning to code, and he's actually a really good coder. He showed me like some of the apps he's working on. He's awesome. And he was coming back from a hackathon up in Portland. And then he's actually one of his goals is to get on the Tennis Pro circuit right now. So, and he's actually a really good tennis player. So
What?
I was working late getting ready for the show, and then like I hear a knock on the door at Telestream, and like he's like right outside the door right there, and he's holding a tennis racket, and he looks like he's been sleeping in a van. And that's because he was sleeping in a van. They basically bought a camper van or like rented a camper van, and we're just like camping up and down on the side of the road, like from LA to Portland with him, his girlfriend, and his dog. And so like he wandered in at like 9 at night the night before, and he was like, "Hey, can we can't park the van in the parking lot?" And so they slept overnight in the van, his
Telestream's
girlfriend, and this
parking
massive like Saint Bernard that's like There's like two adult humans and a huge, massive dog that's as big as another adult human in this van. And then the next morning, like we did the show, and it was rad. We had a great time.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And the funny part was like just the fact that like I don't know, like I guess I didn't quite realize how kind of popular, how well known he was until I started prepping for the show. And the more I prepped for the show, like the more like nervous I was. Like, oh wow, this dude's been on, you know, he's got like
Dancing with the
90
Stars.
million views on some of his videos. Like he's been on Dancing with the Stars. He's been like he hosted like X Factor in Australia. Like, oh, maybe I should do a good job here.
That puts the pressure on. Okay, so I saw a question here about Kevin is asking about tally lights with Wirecast. What's your experience with managing that? You did mention that briefly.
Tally lights with Wirecast?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the only tally light system I'm currently aware of is the tally lights, tallylights.com with
That's what we
made
use.
by
Look,
yeah, you
I think
guys
it's
have
Tally
them. You had him on your
Dash
show,
lights.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're using them now.
We love them.
Yeah, they're great. And so they currently only work with the Windows version of Wirecast. They
Yeah.
don't they haven't written the SDK for the Mac yet. And so or the plugin for the Mac. So they're actually looking for a Mac developer. So if you guys know anybody who develops, you know, that integration, Ted said just send him his way. He's looking for a Mac OS developer that can work with them to bring their tally light system over to the Mac, which would be awesome.
Maybe
Because then
someone in the
any
audience.
Wirecast user could use them.
Yeah, there might be somebody out there who's interested because that would be a big market. Obviously, you guys play heavy in the Mac and Apple space. Tally lights are pretty
Yeah,
important.
ScreenFlow and Wirecast, and yeah, we'd like to give people that option if they want it.
Let's see, what else do we have going on here?
Going back.
Any live caption solution coming for Wirecast? And I'm not sure if you saw the new web captioner app out there, which is can be brought in as a web browser input and then chroma keyed. But I'm not sure if you guys have another solution.
You're talking
that
about
was a fun one.
webcaptioner like .com, the free
Yeah,
site.
that's what it's called, right? Webcaptioner.com.
Yeah,
People are really
yeah. I think I
interested in
did
that
a
for
show on
streaming.
that back when we did a caption show,
Oh,
and
cool.
I just basically showed how you basically do that with Wirecast. It's awesome. Like, what's even more cool is that if you then want to take that transcript that the Google like API or the Google, I forget what they call it, the Google AI or whatever is like transcripting all your words and stuff. You can take that transcript. It's just a text file. And what's great about webcaptioner.com or whatever is they let you download that transcript
Yeah.
free and you just save it to a text file, right? You can then take that transcript and load it into a caption product. We make Caption Maker and we make Mac Caption, which are two caption products for the desktop. And they're about $1,000, about as much as Wirecast. But if captions are really important to you and like you want to be able to produce correct captions that appear where you want them, that come on when you want them, that are, you know, are either closed or in the right format for YouTube or Facebook or all of those, then you can take that web captioner file and just drop it in to the caption software with your video, and it will auto time all that. And then all you have to do is just go back and correct any spelling mistakes or noun mistakes that the Google API made when they did the auto transcription.
Cool. Well, last time we were playing with it was 3 or 4 months ago, and they didn't have the ability to download the captions. I wanted to use it as a head start for my blog posts, or if I was blogging about the show, to just capture what
Quotes.
Andrew said, a quote, or what someone said during the show, and just copy paste. This is pretty much exactly what he said. But that's great. I didn't know that feature was already implemented.
Yeah, I mean the free what is it? Let me just go to it. Is it webcaptioner.com?
Webcaptioner.com.
And it looks like there's webcaptioning.com too. Okay, yeah, here it is, webcaptioner.com. No, it totally they've had the transcript download. Were you
Awesome.
not that they've had that for a while. It's kind of hidden, but I think it works really well.
Perhaps we
Sweet.
just didn't.
We were looking at this very early on. This looks already a lot newer, but that's awesome. Oh, there
Huh.
it is. And now you can. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, there's all kinds of features now. Save to file. That was kind of new when I first started.
Yeah. Yeah, save to file, all that stuff is good. And then looks like they've got direct integration with vMix. So that, I wonder how that's happening. Maybe through the data sources in vMix. Interesting. Okay, well that's cool. I have to look at this because I think this is so cool that he's doing this, and I really love this tool. I mean, it's just so simple to use and it works beautifully.
Now, with your captioning software, does that basically? Because I know that when you send RTSP streams to different applications, like does Facebook actually like take the captions and display them for you, the information, or how does it work?
Yeah, so each platform's different. So I'm not totally up on what they've most recently done. Originally, so I couldn't tell you off the top of my head if Facebook does accept closed captions that are embedded in the RTMP stream. I'd have to look into that. I know that both YouTube and Facebook accept sidecar caption files, so SEC files and MCC. I don't think there's a couple different standards that YouTube and everybody likes, and everybody kind of likes a slightly different standard at the moment. And so if you want to generate those sidecar files, then upload them after your show. Then you'll have your whole video captioned, and anyone who's watching the replay in the VOD can then turn on the captions or turn them off, and they'll appear in the player.
That would be a good case study for NDI, where you take the NDI audio output from your main broadcast PC into another PC that's running web captioner. Because like even in your studio, he's got 3 monitors. He probably doesn't have a whole nother monitor for web captioner. But if you just task one more PC to the job on your network, and then you can download that file and upload it to your on-demand file, and then you've got the captions.
Right.
Wow.
So you download, you can do that. And then actually, what's interesting here is that if you want to get it all done at once, and you want to get the correct caption file format generated, so SEC, I'll have to go back and refresh the correct formats here, but SEC, and I know is definitely one of them, and there's a couple others. And if you want to generate those correct files, which have all the timestamps with the correct number of lines that are supposed to appear, you don't want 5 lines that takes over the screen. You want and they appear in the right locations, or paint on versus just pop on. There's lots of different rules you can set. If you need those already correctly formatted and created at the time of the live captioning, the captioning software now has that ability to do auto captioning through Watson. So Webcaster uses the Google language API, and our captioning software auto transcripts through the Watson API. And then it can pull in a live feed of your captions from a microphone, and then you can, it'll automatically format them in the correct formats.
Very cool. Ronnie was saying, I wish that Wirecast had NDI integration, but Wirecast does have NDI integration now.
It does, yeah. We implemented NDI back in version 7, I think. So it's been in there for a while. And then Wirecast Pro is the only caveat if you want to output NDI. So if you want to push out NDI, then that's Wirecast Pro.
Wirecast Pro. Cool. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What else is on your list, Pauly?
We went over, we didn't talk too much about Rendezvous, which I know is a new...
very exciting new feature add for you guys.
Very exciting feature. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you guys are familiar with the next call and uses WebRTC. Rendezvous is a similar type of feature in Wirecast, except that it is also tied to our Wirecast Go app. And so if you want to be a contributor or a caller on that, you can send through, you can connect through the app remotely to Rendezvous. And then it is built right into the Wirecast interface. So you can manage up to 7 callers on Wirecast Pro and 2 callers on Wirecast Studio. And they can just come in as native shots into your Wirecast system.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I'm liking that Wirecast Go app.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. I actually will need to do more tutorials because I've kind of not, now that it's so critical as a local camera source and as a Rendezvous source and all the rest of it, it really becomes critical in the things you can or can't do in the Go app. versus something else. So I need to practice more with it because it's actually a really cool little app.
I wonder if you could just go out, like, we were doing a selfie stream at NAB New York. That would be a good solution if you're doing a mobile stream.
And you can hit YouTube or any channel you want. And since you guys are big YouTube streamers, you can log right into your YouTube account in the app and hit any events or channels you want to hit through it. Or you can set up your own RTMP destination.
Yeah, and I always feel like that was a great strength for Wirecast for so long was your detailed integration with the CDNs, especially Facebook, where I remember you were telling me how not just logging into your Facebook account and giving you all the access to the pages and the groups and the different spaces that you can manage, but also all the way down into you were telling me features about maps and tags and different things that to help promote your site, direct integration with Facebook.
Yeah. So API integration and partnership with all the platforms has been really important to us. And so our development team works really closely with developers on those platforms. And so they meet monthly with Facebook. They meet monthly with YouTube.
How cool is that?
And they have constant sort of engagement if there's changes on the platform. It really affects Wirecast's integration, so we need to stay on top of that. Otherwise, it'll break for customers. And so, like Vimeo Live is a great example. When they recently purchased Livestream.com, and they also were launching their own live streaming platform. And so their API was something we wanted to implement. Now, APIs are kind of like rabbit holes. The further down you go, the more like complex they are, the more features they add to it, the more you as a developer have to think about like how many of these levers, switches, and knobs do I want to build user interface for, right, in my app. So you kind of have to think about like what's the right amount to put in. If there's a lot, like Facebook has really built theirs out quite a bit, and YouTube's built theirs out quite a bit. So we just kind of have to be somewhat selective sometimes in how much of their API we can implement. But we try to keep a lot of it and try to give as much implementation as we think is necessary for any Wirecast customer to make it as easy as they can to stream to those platforms.
It says, I used it over LTE, that Wirecast Go with Rendezvous.
That's awesome. Like we just updated a bunch of stuff on how to make it better. So if you haven't used Wirecast Go recently with Rendezvous, you should definitely check out the new versions because they're even better in how smooth they're working with Rendezvous. When we first launched 8, there were definitely some bumps as far as connecting across open unmanaged networks, and it was kind of tricky. But we've actually implemented a lot of work to make sure it's really smooth. So it should work great. I've actually been loving how easy everything's behaving, and it's really responsive, and everything's moving smoothly. And one of the things we're going to be doing on our Wirecast Live show next season is doing call-ins on Rendezvous. So we can have people call in to discuss or do talk shows, like ask the audience stuff.
Oh, I like that.
It says what we can do with Rendezvous is we just put the link out in the chat, and anyone can click on the link,
first come,
and then
first serve,
they just
maybe,
request to join, and then we can add them or not.
Interesting. That's a fun
and we can also
little
then boot them off
for interaction.
It should be fun. I don't know what we'll get. We may have to do a recorded version. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I'm sure everyone's cool with it, but like, who knows what's going to happen? Like, because at that point you're letting, I guess you'd start with people you're kind of familiar with, but it should be fun. Like, we're thinking about that. And if you have questions on how to do that, we could totally talk a little bit more on how to do that.
What I like about that feature is that you mentioned there's a request. They don't just pop up immediately. You do have to request them